You die once and suddenly you're not invisible. Explore the story of Heed, who was a corpse for a while but is back to life and trying to learn about just what had happened, only to discover the story is far stranger than that. Inspired by manga, Alter X Artifact is a new LGBTQ+ webcomic for mature readers revolving around magic and political espionage. This comic features fantastic elements, gripping storytelling, and impressive visuals that pull you into the strange but fascinating world of the comic. Alter X Artifact explores themes of magic, dreams, and relationships, all while deftly weaving a compelling mystery with eye-catching visuals. You're still in time to enjoy the exciting prologue as well, but you gotta hurry over onto the website. So, if you're looking for your next weekly webcomic read, you need to go to alterxartifact.com. That is alterxartifact.com. Now back to the show.
No idea why. It's like every few years I have to rewatch Fight Club. Hello, and welcome to Supernatural Selection. I'm your host, Kevin the Bastard. With me this week are Mike the Skeptic. Mike, how are you today?
Like 80% water, 20% trace elements.
Mostly meat.
No, mostly water.
Partly stars, mostly meat. So,
No, all stars.
yeah.
But, except for maybe all the hydrogen. The hydrogen didn't go through a star, probably.
You got so many stars, you're a telethon.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, lady.
Yeah.
And we also have Mr. David Davis. David, how are you?
I have a cut on my tongue and I do not know why.
I have a minor cut on my tongue because I licked a fucking knife like an idiot.
Ooh. I have like a bump on the side of my tongue because I bit my tongue in my sleep and it woke me up.
Nice.
Jesus Christ.
I just wake up, my tongue's in pain, I'm like, fucking hell, what was I doing? Like, chewing things in my sleep and just got my tongue.
Jesus, you need to go to sleep.
And it was
Mike.
I could tell by how much it hurt. It wasn't just like, when you're chewing and you accidentally get your tongue, it's like,
ow.
But no, it was like, I full on bit the shit out of that.
The funny thing is you were probably having a nightmare about severing your own tongue.
No, that would be
You need
horrifying.
to sleep with a wallet in your mouth.
No, I need that hostage tape shit. Have you ever seen that?
Yep.
The Facebook ads for it?
Yep.
Have you, David?
I have not. I'm not on Facebook anymore.
I'm not getting Facebook ads for it, but I know about it. What the fuck are you doing?
I don't know. I see it on Facebook. I saw one like 3 minutes ago or last time. I was
Take
on
many
Facebook.
hostages, Mike? What's
It's
going on?
basically just you tape your mouth shut in your sleep. And I have to wonder, would that help with my snoring?
I don't know. I have
Or
a
would it
feeling
just be
your
like-
head would explode.
Yeah, it would be like, would the pressure just build up and just like either the tape goes shooting across the room or just blow like this black bubble, because the tape is black, just blow this black bubble balloon.
It pops. It
and
sounds
then-
like a hurricane.
No, it hits like, maximum thing and then like all the air goes shooting back in me. My head blows up like a balloon, like some kind of cartoon. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
So other than that, how are you, David?
Not too bad, just surviving. This is the last day of classes for my students. I get to spend the weekend grading their papers and, done with them for a couple weeks.
Well, it's funny because it is also Towel Day. It is May 25th, and it is Towel Day, and it's Thursday, and I never could get the hang of Thursdays.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
Towel, you're the worst character ever.
I know.
Mine was Tuesdays. I hated Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Garfield hated Mondays, but Tuesdays was just like the worst day.
I don't know.
Like every other day has something significant about it, but
I get Thursdays. It's
Friday,
like,
I'm in love.
Yeah, love that song.
no,
So
Thursday is Friday Eve, so it's you're anticipating Friday.
I'm not. I work on Saturdays.
Well, I mean,
Anyway,
in a normal schedule,
hey, remember when this was about the paranormal?
never.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, welcome everyone to season 3 of Supernatural Selection. The reason it is season 3 is because it is our 2nd anniversary last week. So every year we start a new season. The only difference is I say it's a new season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we'll never mention it again until next year.
Mm-hmm. Now, first off, thank you to our listeners, all of you. We're completely floored by not only the number of you, but the stick-to-itiveness you've shown with listening to the show.
Like all 7 of you. Thank you very much.
That's a lot of 7 of them, actually.
Well, you know what? I also want to say our listeners fuck. You just know it. You look at them and like, yeah, they fuck.
Oh,
I haven't seen them, so I can't say. I can't make that judgment call.
Oh, you're not on the right Zoom calls then.
Yep. Yep. Sorry, man. So, thank you again. We really appreciate all you sticking with us for the last few years. Or if you're new, I hope you enjoy the back catalog. Now, that being said, we also have our other show, Distraction Hole, just debuted this week on the feed. We'll have another one up beginning of next week. And, that's a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Quick reminder, you can also advertise with us. You can hit us up at supernatpod.rock/contact. So, yeah, if you would like to advertise with us, we have a sponsor right now. And we also have room for a mid-show role. So please consider contacting us. It's affordable rates of like $2. We sort of lean toward indie creators.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we'll turn down like a HelloFresh ad.
Look, like if Coca-Cola comes up to me and says, "Hey, will you advertise our show?" I have a moral obligation to because I drink Coca-Cola. So
look, I will gladly welcome everyone to Coca-Cola's Supernatural Selection. All right.
What would our flavor be if they did a special flavor of the show?
Oh God, can't talk. Spooktastic citrus.
Carbonated ecto cooler.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Green. Also, on the docket, happy belated birthday to our own Ghost Forge.
Fourth member of the show.
King of our listeners. And probably our biggest cheerleader. So thank you, Ghost Forge. Happy belated birthday.
Mm-hmm.
We're so glad to have you in the community and as a listener.
Nice pom-poms.
Yes, definitely. That's dirty, Mike. You got us in trouble. That's dirty.
Hey, it's just pom-poms. I have pom-poms.
Knock it off, Weinstein.
Oh, boy. So, also, another quick thing. Previous guest on the show, Robert Livingston. Kaiju Days Kickstarter has launched. You can find it. I've got a link to it in the show note document. So,
Yeah, that's a long
head over
URL.
that. Yeah, no, if you look up Kaiju Days on a Kickstarter and it's Days with a Z, you can probably find it. So, also, one last thing before we get going to this week. It's kind of ironic since the subject of the show this week, but Tanya Derenberger Bowman, the daughter of Woody Derenberger, the main contact of Indrid Cold, passed away on May 20th. And this episode seems timely and appropriate. You can find a link to the funeral expenses GoFundMe if you look up Tanya Bowman, but they have actually well surpassed the requested amount they had, so that's awesome.
That's good. I appreciate that, like, the community is rallying behind, because apparently there wasn't really any, like, plans for...
Well, when your plan is for fucking Indrid Cold's kids, Connor and Connor, to come down and take you to space...
To space, Nebraska.
Took her to a farm in upstate New York. Anyway...
I was going to say, a GoFundMe like that, that's probably the only option how I'm going to get buried unless this show really takes off.
Yeah.
You start making that, last podcast money.
No, very familiar with the GoFundMe right now, so.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
David, do you want to put a plug for that, or you can find that we've shared that on our
Discord,
our Discord and our Mastodon.
Not going to get into it too much, but I have my my grandmother. She's reaching the end. She's Yeah, so we're putting together a GoFundMe for funeral costs. It's going well, but like if you're interested, just hop into the Discord. You'll see a link for it and everything like that. Otherwise,
or check out our Mastodon, which is supernatpod at horrorhub.club. And I put I mastoed your thing, whatever,
boosted.
Boost.
Yep.
Well, at least it's not. What's the terrible one now? The new the sky.
Oh, the blue
sky.
Oh, blue? Is that what they're calling it? Bluey sky?
No, it's something skeet.
Oh God! I'd rather say shart. I re-sharted your post.
You can skeet it out there.
Oh God!
Jesus Christ!
Either they really knew what they were doing, or they didn't know what they were doing.
That's by Jack, the former,
Dorsey,
Jack Dorsey, and I put in like a request to get in on the beta for that, and I like to think he looked at my Twitter and went, "I don't need you."
It seemed like they were prioritizing like influencers and the rich and famous,
sure. And then
the people who have it hard enough and need access to things.
Yeah, I saw it, and it's basically like late stage capitalism, the social media site. So I'm fine without it.
I mean, it's just literally Twitter 1.5.
Yep. So,
and yes, I looked it up to make sure it is in fact a skeet.
Oh God damn it! So
skeet.
Guys, since it's season 3, and last year we tried to do the Golden Enriques, and I wasn't really happy with how that turned out, but this year we're doing something special. We're gonna go back to the Mothman.
Ooh,
now that we know sort of what we're doing.
Yes, Mothman returns.
Does it have a Danny DeVito?
And he's offering you an egg in these trying times.
Don't diddle kids. It's no good diddling kids.
Got to pay the toll.
If you want to get in this boy's hole.
God damn it. What's this show about again? I'm forgetting.
Mothman.
Mothman.
One in particular.
So, our sources this week are The Mothman Prophecies by John Keel. There's a link in the show notes document. And the John Keel Wikipedia article, which, kind of needed that. So, All right, so, Mothman, let's get this started. Mothman Returns begins. I'm proud of that. So, starting in November 1966, a strange entity would descend on the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It would spread fear, confusion, and chaos. Its reign of terror would end with the collapse of the Silver Bridge and the death of 46 residents in December 1967. That entity is John A. Keel.
So we're saying that the Mothman is Keel's supervillain alter ego, then?
No. He's a were-Mothman.
He's a were-Mothman. Okay.
Watch your fabrics around him.
Point Pleasant, isn't that where that 70s show took place?
No, that was in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Now, David, are you still going with your pronunciation? Pronunciation. See, I have this speech problem that only happens when I'm not on medication. So, are you still going with the pronunciation of Mothman?
I don't know. I'll play it by ear. Whatever feels right. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah, because I remember in the first episode you were like really keen on making sure it was Mothman.
It's the Mothman. Oh, sorry.
Oiving Mothman.
The Mothman, man.
There you go.
Fair.
Can't own Mothman, man.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, Mothman sounds like a surname.
It does.
Mothman sounds like a...
Irving Mothman.
Yeah. Irving Mothman versus
that's
Mothman.
No, it's Irving Spiderman, so it'd be like...
Arnold Mothman.
Yeah, Arnold. Yeah, he is an Arnold.
Yep. Now, we all know the Mothman is an ass-eating enthusiast, but what do you gentlemen know about Mr. John Keel?
Oh, my.
Okay, so first of all, no judgment on the ass-eating enthusiasm, but please refresh my memory on the association between the Mothman and ass-eating.
It's just this bumper sticker, man. I talk about it later in the episode, but there is a bumper sticker you can find all over the goddamn place that's just... It's a silhouette of the Mothman. It says, Mothman ate my entire ass at a Denny's.
You say all over the place. Wouldn't it be absolutely wild if that is the best-selling bumper sticker in America?
You know, it would not surprise me considering the number of places it's for sale.
It's and there's like no errata about like where that came from. It just kind of like popped into the socials that guys.
The LGBTQ plus community adopted Mothman the way they adopted the Babadook, and now he is an ass-eating aficionado.
Yep. I like it. I'm behind it.
All right, well, I bet you are. Oh, yeah. The Mothman eats other people's ass, but who eats the Mothman?
We need that in We need that in Latin.
Oh God! Don't you remember that great comic from DC, Mothman? And then who eats the ass of the Mothman?
The Mothman, wasn't that like the villains from oh shit, I can't remember the thing now. Abort
joke.
The cartoon that was
Venture Brothers,
Johnny Quest, Venture Brothers, yes.
Venture Brothers, yes.
I use the mighty monarch.
Yes.
Well, I always kind of felt like since Ben Edlund worked on that show, I kind of saw it as like a nod to the Tick.
Probably.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, John Keel was born March 25th, 1930 in Hornell, New York, and spent most of his life in New York State, if not New York City. And he seems to have come out of the womb a born researcher and dropped out of school as soon as he learned everything that he wanted to know.
Like how to score dope.
Yeah, of course.
See, I didn't have the option of dropping out.
Oh, yeah, no, you could do that back in the olden days. And
ye olden days, like, you know,
the 50s or the 30s.
Now,
high school diploma is like a college diploma now.
Now, see, if I was the doctor delivering, the first thing I would have asked his mom is like, how'd those books get in there?
He appears to have built a hutch inside you, man. So a lot of John's early writings had titles like, "Are you a repressed sex fiend?"
Yes.
Which says to me that the man knew how to sell a damn magazine article.
Well, that begs a question, gentlemen. Are you?
Probably.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm repressed.
Oh,
Alex.
I'm nothing but repressed.
Oh, you're a board-certified sex fiend.
Yeah. Mike has a degree.
I'm more of a on the down low.
Are you?
I mean, I don't like throw it out there. I'm like,
Keep it on the down
like
low.
considerate
Down low,
about
so
it. I mean,
low it's non-existent.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, I guess depends on if you're talking about I guess I am technically repressed.
Yes.
Aww.
Yes, you are.
I talked myself into it.
Yep. Now, John is also famous for having written an early erotic Batman parody called The Fickle Finger of Fate. Now, I already love this dude.
So how are we not covering the fickle finger of fate on supernatural sources?
Because number one, it's from Saucerian Press, and number two, it's like 20-something bucks, and you can't get an ebook.
Damn. I mean, we think of slash and fanfic as a modern thing.
Oh no,
obviously it's not.
No,
it's just more prolific and more available.
Oh yeah,
the internet.
I feel like you can find it on an archive of our own.
Sure. Well, somebody get on that, and we'll read it on supernatural sources. Now, John also wrote books and articles about his time in the military during the Korean War, and he also wrote articles about weird supernatural stuff like the Indian rope trick. You guys are familiar with that, right?
No.
Well,
the Indian rope trick where they like throw a rope up in the air and it stays rigid and they climb up the rope.
Oh, are you talking about like if you see a really old racist cartoon and it's in India, you have the guy in the turban who does that? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
that's based on a real thing.
Yeah, that comes from, it's also, there's several of those kind of street miracle things. There's that, and there's also like the hovering yogi, but it turns out it's because they have like a metal like framework.
Yeah, it's like some David Blaine shit.
Yeah.
No, the Korean War thing, I want to say, so he was in MASH?
You know, kind of.
Yeah.
So, like most early paranormal researchers, though, what really got him started was discovering the writings of Charles Fort. And we really need to do an entire episode about Charles Fort.
Fort or Forte?
It's Fort.
Forte.
It's Fort.
There's an E on the end, so it says A.
Sure.
He's not Canadian.
So, wait, A? So we really need to do an episode about him, though, because number one, he was the very first person to compile actual paranormal incidents in the late 18 and early 1900s. I mean, his first book about it was called The Book of the Damned.
Hell yeah.
And number two, the entire field is often referred to as Fortean. The entire genre we cover owes its existence to Charles Fort.
Is that where the Fortean Times comes from?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
It sounds to me like this fort had strong foundations.
I want to hit you with a baseball
You
bat.
could say that this is all is Kevin's forte.
Yes.
Season 3, baby.
Yeah. All cylinders and it's all bullshit. So, now,
All gas, no brakes.
I don't know why. That just hit me right. So, John became one of the foremost researchers into strange phenomenon, alongside J. Allen Hynek, Jacques Vallée, and Gray Barker.
Now, I'd almost argue that, like, Keel is the most well-known. I know people have no real interest in these subjects, but, like, John Keel is recognizable to them. I can mention John Keel and, like, oh, that guy, Mothman.
Yeah. And, I mean, you know, two characters in the movie, the Mothman prophecies, were based on him, one of which was played by Richard Gere. So,
Oh, so you're telling me
never
he's
see that
hot in
with
real
Jacques
life?
Vallée. No.
Oh.
No, that is so far from the truth. I saw a picture of him, and I was like, wow, I didn't know a troll could grow a Van Dyke.
Oh, no.
So,
I mean, he's the only one I think I've heard of outside. But then again, the way I heard of him from outside
Me.
of Kevin,
Oh.
from outside of you was fucking Art Bell.
okay, that's fair. That is completely fair. Because you're going to hear about these people on Art Bell if you listen. So.
Yes.
John was one of those on-the-ground researchers that would drive anywhere at a moment's notice to interview everyone involved in a UFO sighting or paranormal experience, and he would generally make a nuisance of himself until all the information he could find was exhausted.
Oh, one of those guys.
He was also one of those people that needed to see these things for himself. So he tended to stick around until he did. I mean, just ask Woody Derenberger and his daughter from our Injured Cold episode.
I just wish I could live that life, just driving in a van to weird shit like a one-person Scooby gang.
3-person, because that's our plan. Me and Mike have that plan.
Look, that's the American dream that Ronald Reagan took from us.
Yep. Mostly, well, I don't know. He kind of helped it back because he shut down all the mental asylums.
Exactly. If
but
anything,
I'm
he did
saying
more
that
possible.
to be able to afford to do that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, there was a time when a bunch of teenage high school dropouts driving around in a van with a dog and a pothead was possible.
Look, fucking my wallpaper, I have a rotator, and it literally, like 20 seconds ago, popped up a Scooby-Doo wallpaper, and I noticed it, and I was looking at it, and you bring up Scooby-Doo.
Nice. Now, John also had an interesting approach to the paranormal. He saw everything Fortean as aspects of the same phenomenon. To paraphrase him, if you can find the circumference of a circle by starting at any point on the circle, you can find out about the paranormal phenomenon by starting at any other point.
I've gone cross-eyed.
Basically, what I'm saying is that he believed all of this came from the super spectrum.
I was going to say, Kevin, you really subscribe to his newsletter, didn't you?
Kind of,
You
yeah.
and your super spectrum.
Well, the super spectrum was his idea,
Well,
but I don't really agree with it. We'll get into that in another episode. We'll do like a full-on super spectrum episode.
Kevin, Spectrum has such supervision.
Oh my fucking god! Did you just do a mask reference?
Yeah, you know it, baby.
Get out! So, let's actually talk about the Mothman, which of course starts at the TNT plant.
Wait, what?
What?
Like an explosives plant?
Yes.
You
It
mean
sounds like
full of-
Scooby-Doo.
Full of nitroglycerin.
Yes.
You know, the stuff that, is biocompatible and make
We're
people
gonna, Mike.
like...
We
Yeah.
get to that.
Well, I'm throwing my shit out there.
Okay,
and stuff,
yeah.
You know.
It's just you already see where this goes.
Yeah.
So now this all, of course, starts with people trying to find some place to get it on.
Like, fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's November 15th, 1960. I keep forgetting you weren't there for the first one, were you, Mike? It was just me and David.
Yep.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's November 15th, 1966, and two couples are driving around the site of the old TNT plant outside of Point Pleasant trying to find the Bone Zone.
I wasn't invited to that episode.
No, yeah, well, you were
I
on the
felt left
second
out.
one. Yeah, but... Anyway, I think I said this in the first episode, but I don't like anyone enough to drive around in a car for a dual makeout session. I mean, I'm not trying to kink shame, but I'm just saying I don't think this kind of thing happens anymore.
Well, so, I mean, when you only have one person with a car and there's like 4 people that want to make out and they can't do it at home. I mean, look, Kevin, when I was in high school,
I'm just waiting I was conceived like this.
I was single, but I was in a room with like 3 other couples all making out. And I felt very out of place.
Mike,
but I didn't feel like just leaving because
if
I didn't want to be alone. But it's just dark and they're making out. They're probably getting handies and all kinds of other shit. And I'm just like sitting there grooving to the music and kind of, shedding a silent tear.
Mike, you remember that scene in fucking Scott Pilgrim where Knives shows up and you just see Scott shoot through the window, breaking glass, and his roommate says, he just left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would have done in that situation. Just straight through the window from off camera. Nobody sees how it happened.
So Kevin, to say it doesn't happen anymore, I mean, well, maybe in the super internet times where like people make out over the internet. I don't know how this hell happens. But
I don't know.
But I know of circa 1992, shit like that still went down.
I was just going to say, you go finger your lover in the parking lot of a grocery store at 2 a.m. like a normal person. That's what I'm just going to put out there. That's what you
that's
do.
fair.
I mean, that's what they're
real
doing.
70s.
But just there's 2 lovers in the front seat and 2 in the back seat because they only had one car.
High-fiving each other the entire fucking time.
It's like when you have one friend whose parents are out of town. Well, everybody goes to that house to make out.
I'm just going to say that nobody knows the romantic qualities of a Fox photo kiosk anymore, okay? So, the couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Millette.
So they both went on to get married?
They were already married.
It's
2 couples.
Oh, so these are married fucking... Okay, so I thought
these are grown-ass adults.
I thought, well, even as adults, I can see that. But as married couples,
you have a
husbands
fucking
and wives,
bed.
yes, they should have... Unless they're like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory in this thing.
Grandpa Joe!
Living with 4 grandparents all in the same single bedroom. They should have a fucking house to go to make out.
You see why this is so weird to me now, right?
Wait,
I thought we were talking about early 20-somethings that maybe were...
I mean, they could have been in their 20s. They
could have been
66.
I was thinking either teenagers or college students that lived in, non-co-ed dorms, so they couldn't do it
Grown, consenting adults with houses.
Grown adults that were married and presumably had houses.
There was swinging going on in
this.
They
They couldn't even do it at their own house. Why wouldn't they do it at their own house?
Mike, you're getting bogged down in the detail.
I know, but still.
We spent like 8 minutes on this so far.
I know, but it's
we're 20 minutes
weird
in.
and
We
hilarious.
haven't gotten to the fucking Mothman yet.
Okay, so sorry to detour, but that was a weird... I had to point out the absurdity of that.
I'm glad you did, because now you understand why I have a problem with this.
Yeah.
So they're driving around in the dark near the old domed storage buildings of the abandoned TNT plant. Now, the plant had been shut down after the end of World War II because apparently you just don't want that much TNT in peacetime in West Virginia.
No shit.
So I want to get back to the fact that it's two couples here. Were they like each other's moral support and cheer section?
I guess. I don't know.
Again, I keep getting that visual of just like the dudes high-fiving each other from front seat and back seat.
So
Like,
I'm getting pussy.
So that's the only thing I can think of is maybe they did that kind of stuff as teenagers, so they're kind of like trying to relive that.
Look,
like,
again,
hey, Bob, do you want to go down to the TNT factory with your wife, and we can all
with your
like,
good
fuck?
lady wife.
With your good lady wife, and we could all fuck.
Look, later at the end of this, I did not put this in the outline, but I'm going to tell you all the story of what may have actually happened, and we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But, so, as they're driving around trying to find a place to have a dual fuck session, Linda saw something. She described it as a slender white
Shaft.
man.
David Bowie.
God damn it. It's the thin white Duke. He was roughly 7 feet tall with huge white wings. She couldn't get a look at its face because she couldn't stop staring at its glowing red hypnotic eyes. And it rose into the air silently without moving its wings.
So what the fuck were the wings for?
Yeah, if you could fly,
as functional as wings as you'd see on like Drag Race.
Look, the wings are there.
I've
I'm convinced the wings are there because it knew it was going to fly, and it knew they were expecting to see something that could account for it flying.
You know what? I take that back. They would like the drag queens on Drag Race would create like functional wings. So
they'd have a flying rig.
I've seen more functional wings on cosplays at Dragon Con.
That's true.
like electronically controlled wings that just like unfurl on their own.
Right.
Like,
so
so she saw this thing. So did she want to fuck it?
No, because the eyes scared the shit out of her.
Or turned her on.
So at this point, the group, couple of couples, quadruple, what do you call this?
I think you could just say a polycule, like the Scooby Gang.
Were they a polycule?
Yeah, totally.
In his head canon.
Okay.
No, they were a polycule.
I can think of a lot of reasons for that.
I mean, so 13 goes to Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Daphne, right? They were together.
God, I can only imagine Daphne. I have a feeling it was just for when she wanted dick. Because, I don't think that was a relationship. I think that was a, yes, I will take your rancid, pot-stained dick.
There is different levels within a polycule. So, I'm just saying that there was... Even the dog was involved. I don't know.
Oh, God, this is some Shatner-level shit.
Look, according to the 34 I've seen, there's the dog's always involved.
Yeah. So, Annie... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so...
What's that? Shit. Nothing? You were going to say nothing? You interrupted me so
the
you could not say
Scooby-Doo
anything.
threw me for a loop. And,
we were talking about the wings and the eyes.
Yeah. No,
and the quadruple.
I know.
The polycule.
I lost it. Just continue.
So anyway, everyone nearly shit their pants and lost their boners. So they gunned it back to town, but it wasn't over.
The Mothman wanted to make it a pentagon.
That's possible, but the creature did follow them. At first, it was flying alongside the car over the trees, but it started buzzing the fucking car like Maverick and Top Gun.
Maverick!
Now,
can you eat my ass? Eat my ass.
Imagine for a second, you're in a car looking for some place to get naked when some kind of hellspawn just chases you back to town. Now imagine your whole life has been normal, and then this thing comes through like a brick through a plate glass window, and there just isn't enough glue to put your life back together.
So did they find like a hook hanging from one of the door handles?
No.
It was a projector and a fog machine.
No, they had something else left, but we'll get to that later. Now, suddenly, on the outskirts of Point Pleasant, the creature broke off its chase and flew back in the direction of the TNT plant.
like, this is simultaneously the most hilarious and terrifying thing that I've ever heard. Like, in a horror movie, someone gets their head cut off by Jason Voorhees. Here you're buzzed by a human moth. It
reminds me of Jeepers Creepers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, very big Jeepers Creepers vibe.
Not just a human moth, but a cock-blocking human moth.
Oh, there's so much cock-blocking and cuckoldry in this story, Mike. Just wait. So, once in town, the only thing to do was to report the incident to the police because people were stupid back then.
Yeah, I was going to say,
now, Mike, imagine this for a second. I specifically have this set aside for you, all right?
Okay.
Imagine for a second, you're a hillbilly cop in West Virginia, and it's 1966. It is literally 1 week before Thanksgiving, and it's been a slow-ass night. Maybe you're watching Andy Griffith. Fuck, I don't know. And then these 4 sweaty people burst into the station screaming about flying demons chasing them away from a fuck session. How do you react?
Y'all
want to do it right here and I can watch?
That sounds gay. You're all under arrest.
y'all gay for me. Y'all under arrest for being
Y'all
gay.
been smoking that devil's reefer?
Possibly. Now, the incident made it to the local paper after this. And because cops don't keep their fucking mouths shut, okay? And from there, it was picked up by the AP Wire and ended up all over the country.
Now they're just hanging their head in shame.
Yes.
And I'll go back to the point I forgot earlier, which is that they had to go out to the front of their house and turn the pineapple right side up. Because my point was going to be that they both probably had upside down pineapples.
Oh, I understood that reference.
Good. Okay. So the reaction was pretty immediate with the locals. Mm-hmm. More people started reporting run-ins with the creature, which at that point was referred to as a birdman of some form.
Now, we've seen this numerous times in other cryptid episodes, specifically the Falcon Monster and the Hopkinsville Goblins. It's sad to me that we haven't had a good media circus since, I'd say this, honestly.
It's true.
Like, this is the last media circus, I think, for supernatural stuff.
Yeah. You don't get this anymore.
Well, yeah, just because we've moved on to other media circuses with, like, peanuts and elephants.
Definitely elephants. Certainly elephants. So, now John Keel in the Mothman prophecies would say that there were hundreds of sightings of the Mothman pouring in. Now, I did some digging, which wasn't super deep, but I did some digging, and I couldn't find hundreds. Mm-hmm. In fact, I could find maybe 10 substantiated claims, but I didn't get to dig as much as I'd like. I still think that hundreds might be some creative license on the part of John Keel.
Well, Keel math makes heavy usage of multiplication. A sighting includes each eye.
Ah.
Oh, so that's doubling the sightings right
3
there.
if you count the brown eye.
Someone's sunning their anus
Kevin,
to the moon.
4 with the third eye.
Ooh.
Oh, the chakras aligned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the Mothman. He always starts with Kundalini. So, wait, no, what is it? What is it called? I can't remember the name of the damn thing. Anyway, forget it. One thing of note is that people that got a good look at the Mothman's eyes reported a strange medical condition developing. Conjunctivitis.
Huh.
To quote the Wikipedia article on conjunctivitis, for those that don't know, conjunctivitis, also known as pink eye, is inflammation of the outermost layer of the white part of the eye and the inner surface of the eyelid. Makes the eye appear pink or reddish. Pain, burning, scratchiness, or itchiness may occur. The affected eye may have increased tears or be stuck shut in the morning. Swelling of the white part of the eye may also occur. Itching is more common in cases due to allergies. Conjunctivitis can affect one or both eyes.
Now, if we recorded that, well, obviously we're recording it, but if we sped it up like twice as fast, it would sound like an infomercial.
It would sound like the end of a radio ad for a
car
something
lot.
You should ask your doctor about.
Yeah.
Or dealership.
So apparently this is also known to happen in some UFO cases. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. But
You know what causes pink eye, right?
Dookie.
Poo.
Yep.
Poo in your eye.
Or sunburn.
Yeah. Well, all this reminds me of the greatest video game of all time, Earthbound, where the where the UFO enemies can cause colds and teary eyes. And this has been my required Earthbound reference for the episode.
Well, that's okay. I actually want to bring up that it's funny you do bring that up because for some reason in the early 80s to early 90s, maybe the mid 90s, American UFO culture was really big in Japan, and that's why you get stuff like Sableye and Pokemon, and like there are video games with a Flatwoods monster in it. So it's for some reason Japan just latched on to that whole thing. John Keel became a bit of a celebrity over there.
Yeah.
You know where poo comes from, right?
Your butt.
Your ass.
Yeah.
And Mothman eats ass. So it makes sense.
Oh, are you saying he's doing like a poo beam from his eyes?
Or the people are getting conjunctivitis from the reciprocation of the analingus.
What that tells me is that Mothman doesn't like wash his mouth. Like he'll go down on you and then immediately kiss you, and that's not
like
good.
lick your
That's
eyes.
Ass to mouth.
Ass to eyes.
So,
Jesus Christ.
sell my eyes, Mothy. So another thing that happened that will take us away from ass eating for a moment involves Batman.
Wait.
Now, Killer Moth didn't appear in the Adam West Batman series, but he was in the public consciousness at that point with recent appearances in the DC Comics. And some helpful wag at the papers thought that Mothman would move more papers than Bird Monster Thing Guy, and it's hard to argue with results.
Well, Bird Monster Thing Guy is my favorite Rick and Morty character.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, so yeah, couldn't just go with Birdman.
No.
Had to be Mothman.
Yeah, Birdman was already...
There's nothing in this that says moth, so yeah, I don't really know why moth, but, here we are.
Maybe he was a tick sidekick.
Maybe. Now, at around the time that all this was going on, West Virginia was also going through a major UFO flap. Now, a flap is, of course, the term used when a large number of UFO sightings happen in an area during a specific period of time.
Because we can't just call it a fucking outbreak. No, it has to be a fucking flap.
Or a run or a, whatever else.
They could call it a fucking invasion of UFOs, goddammit.
The thing is, a flap is also the sound a UFO investigator makes when running to the scene.
What about a UFO flapper?
That would be hot. Now, with the UFOs and Mothman suddenly on the scene, you can bet your sweet bippy that John Keel was on the case.
He was just like, he heard about this and he
showed up with his pants down.
There was a Wile E. Coyote, like, smoke, cloud.
Yep. Just in his apartment in New York. Everybody was like, what happened to John? What happened to John?
Right through the brick wall.
Yep. So it was like Roger Rabbit. So, for the year the sightings took place, John Keel considered Point Pleasant to be a second home. And
Point Pleasant never recovered.
You're not wrong.
Jesus.
So, he'd do a large amount of his research with Miss Mary Heyer of the Athens, Ohio Messenger, which is a newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I need to stop here for a second. We need to talk about the nature of John Keel's writing in the Mothman prophecies.
Oh, boy.
All right. So, John's writing is, let's say, problematic in today's language. It's very white male reality. The terms, you're going to have to pardon my French, everybody. I wouldn't say this if it weren't in the book. The terms Negro and Oriental are thrown around a few times.
Oof.
And John talks about women only and how attractive they are to him. To quote, "She wasn't going to win any Raquel Welch lookalike contest, I can tell you."
John Keel, the Zap Brannigan of Fortean Research.
God damn it, he kind of is.
Champagan.
Champagan. I love that show. There's our Futurama reference, thank God. Now, I bring this up because most of the time, I've learned from reading these books, if someone says that they were parked in a car on a hill all night, quote, doing UFO research, it's usually meaning that they were banging. I mean, you remember the fella and his cousin that were, quote, doing UFO research in the Injured Cold story?
How could we forget? We talked about
fucking.
that for 20 minutes.
They be fucking. So, but here's the thing. The forced nature of John Keel's hypersexuality and his being a lifelong bachelor and the time this book was written and when the incidents occurred, it kind of reminds me of Ingo Swann, if you catch my meaning. And I'm just going to say that maybe they actually were sitting on a hill in the night watching the lights over the Arby's.
The Arby's seems like it would be a John Keel sort of restaurant.
It really does.
I like me some Arby's.
Yeah, no, I love Arby's.
Oh, yeah.
Point is, I think these women were safe with John Keel.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of... we've talked about like machismo before, but yeah, I think it's a lot of posturing. Again, he's doing research that is kind of like hip in a lot of ways.
And he had long hair and a Van Dyke during a time when
he was
that
kind
was
of
the
like
cool thing to do,
pulling like the Anton LaVey look sort of thing going on, and
sort of it's kind of a beatnik Anton LaVey thing, but also he had shaved it all off, and he was like, yeah, if the crew cut ever becomes anti-establishment, I'll do that too. So, again, at this point, the sightings of the Mothman sort of drop off. It's like he can't even be bothered to stick around for his own story. And instead, the number of UFO sightings increased to the point of hilarity. Everyone and their mother, literally everyone and their mother, every time somebody reported something, and my mom saw something too, they're all reporting UFOs, and John Keel and Mary Hire are right there to take notes.
they're in the goddamn walls.
It's a bug hunt, man, a bug hunt.
Game over, man, game over.
Nuke it from orbit, it's the only way to be sure. So, it's at this point, one of my absolute favorite incidents happens. Again, a young couple are making out in their car.
What does every like UFO magazine at the time read like a Penthouse Letters page?
Yes.
Because that's the impression that I'm getting. Like everybody who writes in is like, oh yeah, I was totally getting laid at the time, but
Yeah. So they're in the bone zone when a UFO begins hovering outside the car and it watches them. It shines its beam in the window on both of them, and it gets all over their privates, and they both end up with sunburn and herpes.
Because that's how viruses work.
I'm going to give you guys a minute to go ahead and get talking about space VDs out of your system.
Oh yeah. So you got the cosmic clap, the hyperspace hepatitis, the solar syphilis, galactic gonorrhea. You got a whole bunch of them.
Just space herpes
Yep, space
from ice pirates.
yes, that's it exactly. God, I need to go back and watch that.
I mean, in light of that, I'm kind of thinking they were fucking.
Yeah. No, they were fucking. I firmly believe these two because a woman was horribly embarrassed to show up and be like, I got stuff on my junk. So,
In that exact voice, which is going to give me nightmares.
glad I could help. So, this next portion this thing is swinging as much as my mood lately off the medication, and this section is called, He's Trying to Warn You of the Bridge.
Oh, goddamn
I
it.
swear the UFO gave us the herpes.
It gave me the herpes.
Not the prostitute I was having sex with 3 months ago.
I promise he's seen no other women than me. Okay, so at this point, our favorite weirdos show up, guys. The Men in Black.
Yes.
The Men in Black show up and they start harassing people. We've seen UFOs and the Mothman. And John Keel starts getting bizarre telephone calls from strangers making weird noises. And he gets people interrupting his phone calls in progress, chanting, UFO, UFO, UFO.
It's amazing to me how often MIB weirdness comes down to what are essentially dumb pranks teenagers do.
I know. And that's why I love them so much. Everyone's like, you're going to be scared of the Men in Black show up. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I can distract them with a dog toy.
They're going to show me a coin trick, and they're going to think that's going to throw me off the trail.
Oh, can you imagine one doing the severed thumb trick and be like, I can make this happen to you?
Look, the Men in Black sound like they're just, if to get away from them, you just throw a handful of pocket change on the ground. And
Pocket sand!
No, change.
Oh, change, right.
Just throw the change on the ground and run away, and they're just going to be counting it.
Now,
you hold the Nerf ball in your hand, and you squeeze it, and they just lose their minds.
Ooh, like dog toys.
Yeah, that's what I said. You can distract them with a dog toy. Yeah, squeak, squeak. So, the strangest call John received came one night in November of 1967. John was back in New York for a time for personal business when he received a call from someone claiming to be Indrid Cold. Yes, that Indrid Cold.
What is this, a crossover episode?
Look, here comes Boimler. So, I'm really excited about that, by the way, but that's for another show.
That's for the other show, yes.
Yeah.
Mothman, Endgame.
We want you to join the Cryptid Initiative.
Oh, God damn it. So, Indrid Cold warns John that something big would be happening along the Ohio River soon, and that it would be a disaster of epic proportions. After Cold hung up, John started racking his brain, and the only thing he could think of that could be dangerous was the old TNT plant, with its still remaining chemicals leaking into the water table, which it still does to this day. Mike, I will give you time for rebuttal with that at the end. Because, we all thought about it.
Like, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
What do you guys think he did with this information? This impending disaster near a town full of people he had come to know and call friends. Yep. Sat on his ass watching TV news.
He had a call to greatness and simply let it go to his voicemail.
Fuck. All right. December 15th. Again, this is where it swings to dark.
Mm-hmm.
December 15th, 1967. 10 days until Christmas. 1 month since the phone call from Indrid Cold. 1 year and 1 month to the day of the sudden appearance of the Mothman.
It's very arbitrary.
The people of Point Pleasant were preparing for the holiday. The Silver Bridge spanning the Ohio River was loaded with people on their way home from work or shopping in the larger towns of Ohio, which that sounds sad as fuck. Cars were loaded with presents and families. At 5 p.m., people recorded hearing a loud noise like a gunshot. Within minutes, the Silver Bridge had snapped its supports and sent debris, cars, trucks, holiday shopping, and far too many people plunging into the freezing waters of the Ohio River. It would not be a pleasant holiday. In all, 46 people died in the waters below the bridge. For weeks after, cranes would continue to bring up debris from the bridge. They would bring up the cars. They would bring up bodies. And right there in the middle of it all was Mary Heyer. Mary, who knew the people of Point Pleasant through her work with the newspaper, would stay there. She knew more than anyone about the town and its people, and she would stay there and count the bodies, help identify the dead, and help this small community find the closure it so desperately needed.
Now, we've joked a lot about like the synchronicities and the high strangeness of Keel and the events surrounding all of this, but a death count of 46 people is a generational trauma.
You're not wrong. I mean, this town is a town. We're talking hundreds of people.
Yeah.
and they lose 46 in one go.
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah.
Thoughts about that?
I mean, yeah, coincidences suck.
Yeah, no, and we'll get to it. I'll talk about it later. But Mary was in her small office on December 22nd, 1967, cataloging the missing and dead when two men walked in. She said she couldn't be sure if they were twins or not, but they were extremely similar. Dark, swarthy men in black suits and sunglasses, and they were short, like 5 foot. They proceeded to ask Mary about the recent UFO flap. All of this as the sound of screeching metal said they were pulling another car out of the Ohio River. Mary handed them her giant file on UFOs she'd been collecting for the last year with John Keel. They glanced through it, and one of them asked, "Has anyone told you not to publish these reports?" Mary just shook her head. "What would you do if someone ordered you to stop writing about flying saucers?" At this point, Mary'd had enough. "I'd tell them to go to hell." When she looked up, the two men had simply vanished.
To hell.
God damn it. It's so weird. It's such a weird thing. Especially when this massive thing, there's been news outlets from all around in town because of this massive disaster. And these two chuckle fucks come in and are like, "Tell us about UFOs."
Well, one thing I want to point out is I appreciate our clandestine government agencies hiring short kings, because we need work.
Sure. Okay. Fair. So later that day, Mary would have another visitor. She described him as 5'7", slightly built, abnormally long fingers that tapered to points, jet black eyes, and hair that looked like it had been cut with a weed eater.
It's fucking salad fingers. You
Shit,
bet
you're
Cambadale.
right. Fuck. Have you got any spoons? This dark suit that he was wearing seemed to fit poorly and had been put on wrong.
So when you put wrong in quotes there, I'm trying to figure out what this means, and I'm just thinking of that scene in The Simpsons where Hank Scorpio quickly puts his jacket on backwards.
No, he's got one arm through one sleeve and one leg through the other sleeve, and
Well, see, what I pictured was like, you know how when you put on, like, say, a suit, and then you, like, spend a minute in the mirror, like, sort of adjusting and arranging, like doing the Picard maneuver where you tug it down and everything? Okay, imagine this dude had never heard of that and just left with it being weird.
I'm just imagining that, they say you can't dress a dead body well. And it's like,
Having seen people do that,
Maybe he was
very
doing
true.
a Tommy Boy.
Oh, maybe he's
Fat
doing
man
a
in a
Tommy
little
Boy
coat.
Sow.
yeah, I'm just, but morticians don't count because they do that
Yeah,
shit all the time.
sure.
They're trained to dress a cadaver.
You know who can dress a cadaver? The guys from Weekend at Bernie's.
Well, I mean, you do it enough, you get
Sure,
decent at it.
you get practice. So the man introduces himself as Jack Brown. Which Jack Brown may be my favorite paranormal person ever. And he told her he was a UFO researcher. She proceeded to have the most awkward conversation about UFOs with this man that she had ever had.
Which is a
Because the
pretty
previous
tall order given, like, the type of people who talk about UFOs.
And like Mike, you were saying,
Or the previous two.
yeah, this one was even more awkward. And she was pretty much done with weirdos asking about flying saucers while they pulled the bodies of her friends out of the river outside her window.
Jesus Christ.
So then Brown asks her a question. What would you do if someone ordered you to stop printing UFO stories?
Is this fucking Woody Allen? What's going on here?
Just the way it sounds and everything.
Suddenly.
It's like a sped up version of like the dwarf from Twin Peaks.
Sometimes my arms bend back.
Yes. So he asks her this, and she says, "Are you with the other two guys?" And he goes, No, I'm alone. I'm a friend of Gray Barker. Which Gray Barker is actually the guy who wrote The Flying Saucers and the Three Men, the book about Albert Bender's first encounter with the Men in Black.
Crossover episode, I'm telling you.
No, this one has everything we've talked about with UFOs. And she hears that, the Gray Barker thing, and she's like, oh, do you know John Keel? And John then says, I used to think the world of Keel. Then a few minutes ago, I bought him a magazine. He has an article in it. He says he's seen UFOs himself. He's a liar. After this, he asked Mary, would you please drive me to where you and John saw all the UFOs? And she says, no.
Never good with her location.
Go find them yourself. Now this is when Mary, in frustration, pulls out a ballpoint pen, you know, the clicky kind, and just starts clicking it out of frustration. And Brown says, I mean, he completely loses his shit. What is that? I do not know what it is. What is that? What is in your hand?
Man, AI really was primitive back then.
It's not much better now. Mary told him, it's a pen. You can have it. And Brown reacts like if somebody gave one of us a fucking lightsaber, a real life lightsaber, and he ran out of the office building giggling.
I'm amazed that this is a story that actually exists. It's just such a bizarre little fucking detail that it just feels hard to make up, and that most writers would be like, oh no, this is too dumb. No one would believe this.
I feel stupid just reading it, okay? Now, Mike, you got any thoughts on Brown so far?
I mean, that's really...
I can't think of a reason she would make this up, is my thing. But I also... They didn't know what autism was back then.
It sounds like a little kid in a suit.
It
just
really does. So the thing is, later, Brown showed up at a fucking Christmas party uninvited with a reel-to-reel tape recorder. Remember, 1967, something the size of a briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To interview people about UFOs and John Keel some more. So he's standing around for like half an hour, unsuccessfully trying to get the tape loaded, the machine plugged in and turned on, and the microphone hooked up.
Now, so I've seen this sort of thing before. I've been to Hollywood. I've seen men wandering around with like unplugged hair dryers, using them as laser guns on the street. So, like, I don't find
you're
this...
in California. I want to,
Yeah.
Okay, so
that makes sense. They're just, having stories in the paper attracted all these quacks.
Oh yeah. Now, having failed to even remotely get the tape recorder to work or be loaded, he just picks up the unplugged microphone and walks around the party pretending to interview people. And asking shit like, do you know John Keel? John Keel is a goddamn liar. Have you seen a UFO? I wouldn't trust John Keel.
It sounds like an AI is putting together a Christopher Walken simulation.
Definitely unhinged AI.
Yeah. So someone finally threw the little shit out, because the last thing you want at a party is a fae that's already been drinking.
And he's probably really harshing on people, like trying to make out.
Yeah.
And forget the collapse of the bridge.
Two people start, trying to make out.
Do you know John Keel, sir? Could you stop trying to eat that woman?
While he's shoving the microphone between their faces.
Yes.
Dude just wanted to show off as Mr. Microphone. What's the harm in that?
Hey, good looking. I'll be back to talk to you about UFOs later.
I remember when I was 8 and had one of those. Be like,
Sure.
Ah!
I just want y'all to know that Google started looking up exactly what I said just now for some reason on my phone. So that's great. Now, the funny thing is, this was the last time I have a report about Jack Brown, but it's not the first appearance of Jack Brown. Now, Brown showed up one other time prior to all this, and it was the summer of 67, which sounds like a song.
It's 69.
And for some reason, the twisted little shit showed up at the legendary Max's Kansas City.
Jesus Christ.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Mike, have you ever heard of Max?
No.
Okay. It was a bar / club / restaurant / band venue that gave CBGB's a run for its money. It was also located in New York, where John Keel lived.
And the funny thing that I heard was that Jack Brown and the Men in Black did a legendary set for Iggy and the Stooges at Max's Kansas City in 69. So this is interesting.
Yeah, but they were like blasted out of their mind on LSD.
I thought that was his brother, the bad Leroy Brown.
Oh.
Nice.
Well, seriously, though, Max's Kansas City was like the big rival for CBGB's.
Yeah.
And, Mike, you know what CBGB's is, right?
I've heard of it.
It's like the big place where everybody who was anybody played in New York. It was a club.
Oh, so it's like the East Coast version of Whiskey A Go-Go?
It's like a less reputable version of the House of Blues.
It was like the big,
but yeah, it's kind of like the
New York
Whiskey
punk scene would gravitate around Max's Kansas City and CBGB's, and
like the Ramones, Iggy, like David said, Iggy Pop and the Stooges were at Max's, so because they got thrown out of CBGB. So anyway, it's 67, it's Max's Kansas City, one of the hippest places in town, and in walks Jack Brown. He sat at a table until a waitress walked up. "I need something to eat." And the waitress gives him a menu, which he pretends to read, holding it upside down, gave up, and just looked at her with a pleading look on her face and on his face and said, "Food!" Fuck. The waitress brings him a steak, and after sitting there, trying hundreds of useless combinations of fork on meat with knife, the waitress finally came over and showed him how to cut the meat out of pity. After that, the little maniac sat there confusedly sawing at his meat and finally eating it in a joyous panic that I personally hope to experience one day. I just want the mania of just finally learning how to eat a steak. Now, you'll notice that a lot of this story centers, of course, on John Keel and how the entire story seems to revolve around his relationship to the bizarre. And honestly, that's just John in a nutshell. Once he became involved in researching something, it became a personal battle of wills between him and the ultra-terrestrials.
Now, how is it that the ultra-terrestrials can fold the laws of time and space, but can't figure out how to cut a fucking steak?
They don't need food until they get here.
I heard him plead for food. He went, food?
You think they'll do their research? I mean, come on. If I'm going to freaking Japan or something, I'm gonna at least learn how to
I've got
ask
a theory
for the bathroom.
I got a theory about this that they have incredibly clear thought and are super brilliant when they're in their home dimension, in the super spectrum. But once they get down here into meat space, it's like they're limited by the processing power of the hardware.
They're on some sort of spectrum.
Stupid. Oh, they're on a spectrum, all right.
Yeah.
What?
I was just saying, but then that means that they're
I know I need food. How to make food? How food happen?
That doesn't make much sense, though.
Because
they're operating at a level lower than human functionality.
Right. So, Wither Mothman.
Without Mothman.
What happened after Christmas of 1967? Well, the flap ended. The Men in Black went back to whatever the hell place they came from, and John Keel became disenfranchised with the idea of UFOs being aliens. This is around the time the superstructure really kicked in for him. And what happened to the Mothman? Well, other than some sightings that were probably cranes, nothing much has been heard of him. Reports of the Russian Mothman at Chernobyl that we discussed in the very first episode turned out to be false.
Aw.
They were written by a writer at Mysterious Universe that was misinformed and has publicly admitted to such.
Now, I expected more of the journalistic standards of MysteriousUniverse.com.
I certainly did not. The closest thing we have to a Mothman sighting was from Chicago in 2017 around O'Hare Airport. But the media cycle being what it is keeps dredging it up from a few to put a new dateline on it so we don't have to put our phones down and talk to each other. The spate of sightings stopped at around 3 between 2017 and 2019. So I'm afraid the actual physical Mothman may have died from COVID.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
So the 2017 thing, was that like flying humanoid shape?
That was in California actually.
Oh.
This is different. It was several baggage tossers at O'Hare.
They had their asses eaten.
Kept I'm not
Bunch of
going to keep
tossers.
shame. Yep. They saw the Mothman and yelled, "Dios mío!"
Oh, Your Honor.
Full circle. But, something magical has happened since then. There never really was much to the Mothman to begin with in his own story. And he's been sitting there in the back of the collective subconscious, like some kind of a mug someone bought you for Christmas, waiting for you to put coffee in it. And boys, the coffee has arrived.
Can it be cocoa instead?
Sure, or cocoa.
There we
The
go.
beverages have arrived. First, the Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant is a great celebration of all things weird held the third week of September every year with pancake eating contests, musical performances, and a Mothman museum. And I am still happy as a pig in shit over the offerings of beans to the giant metal statue with the killer ass. Mike, you've seen pictures of the Mothman statue,
I
right?
think you've shown me, but still don't get the beans.
I don't know. Somebody left a can of beans there. There was just a can of beans there, and everybody's like, "Beans for the moth god."
The same thing happened on my college campus. There was a roach in the hallway that was just like, it was the corpse of a roach, right?
Yeah.
So someone left a roach clip there next to it. And over the course of the day, as I would pass through the stairwell, I would see people putting little things at the altar to this dead roach.
Mike, it's like the FedEx guy.
I was going to say Dragon Con John, a.k.a. the FedEx guy.
Yeah, it's just like that.
1 year at Dragon Con, there was it's held in hotels, and hotels have things other than, the hotel.
Other than nerd shit.
Yeah, one of them had a FedEx thing because it's downtown in the middle of everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's businesses that need shit shipped. But they had a standee outside of their. Actually, not even outside. It was in like the
a hallway.
It was in one of the walkways because some of the hotels are connected with sky bridges. So they had a standee there that was saying, "Hey, the FedEx is over this way." It's just a picture of a dude holding a package, but said, "See the FedEx in whatever hotel level it was," and so it just stayed there for a couple of days, and then. The first thing that happened, someone put googly eyes over his normal eyes. And then it just snowballed from there.
It became a cult.
There was like someone put a lay on him. And then, someone started leaving, what people basically, when they pass by, whatever random shit they have, they like stick a sticker on them or put something at the base. And it became a shrine to the point that when the FedEx workers, I guess, finally saw what was happening, I don't remember if they took him away or maybe someone else stole him, but he disappeared.
Aww.
And everybody was very sad that FedEx John had disappeared.
Yeah.
And then he reappeared as if some deity.
Like the second coming of Jesus.
Yeah, and it was just so bizarre how, seeing over the course of like 5 days how this just evolved. Because, it was in my like path. I would see it several times a day. So I could see the evolution.
And there are still offerings being made to Dragon Con John every year.
Yeah,
Oh,
and so the next year, someone had one, either they had one recreated or found one somewhere and put up a new Dragon Con John. And it's just
So yeah.
It'd be a hell of a
this is how
cosplay.
Last year was my see, that's what I said about the Mothman thing, because last year was my first year. I put a Supernatural Selection sticker on him.
Yeah.
So I have made my offering, but Mike, you ask about the beans. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Somebody left some beans, and it became a cult.
I think someone probably just had a can of beans. They set it down and forgot it was there.
And suddenly everybody started bringing beans.
And then he, like, half an hour later was sad because he's hungry and doesn't know where he left his beans.
You're getting bogged down in the beans.
Probably a
bean
train hopping
purchaser.
hobo.
A train hopping hobo. So, from the statue with the killer ass, the LGBTQ plus community has adopted our adorable little night terror as a symbol of pride. He's used to celebrate and normalize kinks, alternative sexual relationships, and general freedom to be oneself.
Like partner swapping in a
Buick?
65 Buick at the TNT plant.
At the dynamite factory.
Yeah. And there's also, as I said, those great bumper stickers that say, Mothman ate my entire ass at a Denny's. And we have gotten no comment yet from Denny's about this.
Again,
Arby's.
oh, I was going to say big Babadook vibes from the Mothman, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I feel like the Mothman is a great example of how something dark and scary can be repurposed.
I don't know about Babadook. I'm getting more Badonkadonk.
The Badonkadonk.
There was because I watched The Last Drive-In and they showed the Babadook, and I remember I tooted at one point something. Tooted the Badonkadonkadook. and that was very popular. It was very fun.
Yes.
I was very proud of myself for that one.
The thing is, I don't know that repurpose is the right word. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Rescued from the forces of darkness and made into something wonderful. That sounds better. Something that celebrates the strange and the different in everyone. And eating ass.
Look, Kevin, I think people just like find sexiness and like stuff like that because I've seen Rule 34 of SCP stuff.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
So I think it's not a far stretch to say that if anything exists, someone has sexualized.
Have you seen the super sexualized Mothman where he's tied up in red ribbon, like in the Japanese bondage rope play thing?
Jesus Christ!
He's like blushing. It says the safe word is lamp.
No.
Now, see, in the English class I teach, one of them we do a theme of monstrosity, and we do talk about, like, I don't phrase it like this, but monster fuckers exist.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, there's some underlying principles to that. There's this idea of simultaneous attraction and revulsion to the monster. The monster is freeing in a lot of ways. It's a way to articulate things about society.
That's why everybody got horny with Ron Perlman in the Beauty and the Beast TV show.
Oh, wait, come again? You get horny?
No, people. Why people get horny.
I heard that as you. I heard you say explicitly, I get horny at Ron Perlman.
No, you wanted to hear me say me.
Every version of the Beast has its like.
Yeah, people be weird.
No, it's the meme
fine.
with the meme with the Disney Beauty and the Beast, the animated one. Like, everybody preferred him when he was the monster. When he turns into the actual human prince, like, no, change back, please.
Yeah. So, Mike, first off, before I go into this last bit that's not in the outline, the TNT. What does nitroglycerin do to a man?
So it's frequently, even still to this day, used for heart conditions.
Yes, it is. I always make jokes when something scares me. Somebody put a nitro pill under my tongue.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure the biological effects it has. I don't know if it like.
Does it make you see Mothman?
Does it quicken the heart or slow the heart? I don't know. Maybe it just makes it pump stronger or something. But
well, I'm going to go ahead and break this out because you can believe it whether you want to or not, and it doesn't change the fact that the Mothman Festival goes on. I was told the truth of the Mothman, gentlemen. Breaking news. So, I'm going to tell y'all this the best I can remember it from the dude that told me, who was from Point Pleasant and knew the perpetrator, who shall go nameless.
Ooh.
So, 66, these four driving around looking for the Bone Zone had dropped acid. And one of the local high schoolers knew they were going to do this. Now, the Point Pleasant High School, I think their mascot was like a knight or something. And at pep rallies, they would have like the knight come out and like slay the mascot of the opposing team. So they had like all these shitty costumes for opposing mascots. One of the mascots was a gorilla that they had attached bike reflectors over the eyes. And this person, who was a known prankster, knew that they were going to be out there in the woods near the TNT plant looking for a place to fuck on acid, which just sounds like a nightmare to me.
Right.
I mean, it's like, oh no, I'm falling into your vagina, help me! But anyway, so dude decides to go out there and he puts on this gorilla suit with bike reflector eyes and a Dracula cape. So when they're driving down the road, this jackass jumps out in the middle of the road and is like, "Wah!" with his Dracula cape. And the eyes are reflecting in the headlights. And it scares the shit out of them. And I guess they thought he was chasing them the whole way back to town.
He's just sitting on the front of a bike of his friend, and his friend's pedaling as fast as he can.
And the other sightings, after that happened and it hit the news, he started, making a couple of other appearances as a monster to try to build a legend. Build a legend he did.
You're a fucking teenager. You do some stupid shit like that. All of a sudden, it's making the news. Of course you're fucking doing it again.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in Point Pleasant
and there's nothing going on.
Point Pleasant population, 450.
Yeah, you got nothing. It was a Thursday, by the way, so there's nothing to do.
On a school night?
Yeah.
No, it's funny. When you started telling the story, you mentioned the high school. I'm like, oh shit, was the high school next to the dynamite factory? Is this fucking Tromaville? What's going on
No,
here?
It's not Tromaville. Nobody got... No, he didn't fall out of a tub of radioactive goo and start mutating and somebody go, he's faking it. Which is possibly the greatest moment in cinema history. But...
So me being me, I decided to look up the Point Pleasant High School, which is a combined junior and senior high school.
Oh,
sure.
Like Stranger Things.
And its mascot is in fact a knight.
I told you.
I mean, I had to look.
Oh yeah, no, I totally understand. I'm glad you did because it just adds that much more credence.
So we have a Dark Knight and we have a Killer Moth. This sounds like a Batman fanfic.
It really does. But you know what's great about that? Having said that out loud after sitting on this for 2 years, nothing's changed. And you don't have to believe it.
And the Mothman still eats ass at Denny's every Thursday night.
Damn straight, motherfucker. The Mothman is still out there.
I am thankful for the Mothman. Went to a convention the other day, wanted to get Holly something. I got her a Mothman sticker and a Mothman pin.
I got Kit a Mothman plush at Dragon Con last year.
Ladies love the Mothman. Because he eats ass.
I mean, some dudes like receiving that as well.
Yeah, sure. No,
hell yeah.
I've got nothing against it, man. If you're down for that, go for it. I mean, I'm not doing it, but go for it. Again, I don't think that the truth should get in the way of a good story in this case, and it gave us Mothman. Mm-hmm. In the end, it doesn't matter.
In the end, eating ass.
Yeah, in the end. There's ass. But the point is, there was no real connection between the Mothman and the Silver Bridge collapse. Mm-hmm. There were no prophecies. Some people said they had dreams about the Mothman and I saw a river. It's like, okay,
You live near a river.
That's also after the collapse happened, you went around asking people if they had a dream about the bridge collapsing. Of course someone's going to say yes.
And also, when you said a year and a month to the day, it's like
it's real arbitrary.
Yeah, that's kind of like, might as well just say, and some time afterwards to the day.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it was to the day. It was the 15th.
Yeah, but still.
But it was a year and a month.
That's just, wanting to put significance on things that
Are you shitting on my writing, Mike?
No, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying.
Do you want to run this podcast, Mike? No, I'm kidding.
I'm just saying these things, are not connected in any way.
I know, and I completely agree.
Stop fighting, Dad and Dad.
My two dads.
My two dads.
So, but yeah, we've got the Mothman now because of all this, and great.
The world is a better place because there's a Mothman.
Yeah, I agree.
I legitimately think so.
There's a fucking silver dollar pancake eating contest because somebody saw a gorilla suit.
And there are a lot more eating asses.
Yeah. Yep.
All you
that's
can
true.
eat ass and pancakes.
Man, how many hookups have happened because somebody saw that bumper sticker? That's the question.
Dude, I bet you people get freaky at the Mothman Festival.
Oh my God. There is so much bone in there, I bet.
At the TNT factory.
How many people? Actually, they've got it set up where you can't go out there now.
I'm sure there's like other secluded
It's
spots.
Point Pleasant. I'm about 90% sure it's nothing but secluded spots now.
People boning on the Mothman statue.
Boning
the Mothman
that
statue.
Is right in the middle of town.
Well, yeah, they're getting freaky.
Okay, yeah, and then, Sheriff Andy Taylor comes out and Barney comes out with his one bullet. Now we got to nip this in the bud. So, thank you. In the butt.
More like modern Barney just taking TikTok videos of it.
Oh, God. I'm gonna jerk it to this later, Andy.
Don Knotts would have killed it on TikTok.
I loved Don Knotts. You've heard Dana Gould's impression of him, right? Like when they have in the newer Scooby-Doo stuff, they will have like a Don Knotts character sometimes.
Yeah.
Because Don Knotts was always showing up on the old Scooby-Doo mystery movies.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll have a character that looks like Don Knotts, and they will get Dana Gould to voice him.
Oh, yeah.
And he did this great routine talking about Don Knotts sucking at being a peeping Tom.
Okay, I'm going to have to look that one up.
Ring, ring. I'm looking at you through the bedroom window. Is this Don Knotts? Ah! And he said he did that routine one night, and he found out Don Knotts' daughter was in the fucking audience, and she loved it. So I love that. I'm glad somehow we managed to end this on Don Knotts. So thank you everyone for listening. I'm so glad you stuck around for the last 2 years, and we're looking forward to what we got coming in year 3. Mike, David, I would not have continued to do this without you guys, and I cannot thank you enough for coming along on this journey through bizarre shit.
Kevin, you would have continued to do it, under a bridge overpass with, a...
Mike,
you would have been Jack Brown at the party with your broken tape deck.
Do you want to talk about the Mothman? Have you ever had someone eat your ass? So, thank you again for listening. David, have you got any plugs?
At the moment, just go ahead and keep an eye on cosmic-.com. I've not been able to update for these past couple weeks, but I will start updating again soon. Again, a lot going on, but very excited to get back in the comic stuff. So
awesome. Is there going to be ass eating in the upcoming stories?
That's for patrons only.
Okay, good to know. All right, Mike.
If you want to see us eat ass on Patreon,
nope.
Oh, okay,
but,
okay.
We'll talk about ass eating.
I mean,
more on Patreon.
Maybe some like pig ass.
Yep.
Like some.
You can go to patreon.supernatpod.rocks and ask that we talk about eating ass more.
Or less.
Or less. We can stop it.
Yeah, kink shame us, I guess. If you're going to be that guy.
You can be that guy. But Mike, if you got anything you want to plug, any neat shout-outs, any YouTube channels you want to plug? Hey, how about that one you showed me the video from about Crowley?
Oh, Aton Shea Films. He's a pretty cool guy. He lives in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Well, he lives in New Orleans, but he's from Massachusetts, actually.
That's a hell of a drive.
So he does a lot of videos about like the Civil War and things of that era, the colonization and of New Orleans. So he's pretty cool. I like watching his stuff. He does a really good series. That his most popular thing is what's the name of that? Suck It Lincolnites.
Wait, what was that one what's that one he does where he dresses up like the
the Witchfinder General.
Witchfinder General. He does a series of videos where he answers questions as the Witchfinder General.
He's like a some kind of drama major or something. So he does when he does it, he does the actual like pronunciation how someone from that era would talk.
Oh hell
It's
yeah!
Not,
really fun.
Not Hollywood's just a slight British accent.
Oh, kind of like how they did The Witch.
I didn't see that.
But yeah,
for the
you
other
know,
show.
you know how they, yeah.
No.
But yeah, he also has done some deconstruction of movies about like what's that really big one about the South?
The Blue and the Gray.
No, the other one.
What? Gone with the Wind?
No, there's some Civil War movie that's held in high regard, and he just like tears it a new one.
Gettysburg?
Maybe. I mean, he's done several of them. So.
But yeah, Aton Shea. It's spelled very weird. But if you look for his
A-T-U-N.
A-T-U-N Shea, and you can also find him by looking up his Witchfinder General stuff.
Yeah. But like I said, the Checkmate Lincolnites is great because he plays both Johnny Reb and a Union soldier, and they're just like back and forthing it. And he was reading like YouTube comments and other things about people that are saying, well, you're wrong for this reason, and he's just shoot slapping them down like, no dog. This is why it was about slavery.
But he did do a really interesting video Mike showed me, David, about Aleister Crowley in New Orleans.
Dude, yeah, Crowley in New Orleans, it's like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
during
very really, sweaty baby bald man in a candy store.
Crowley in New Orleans during Prohibition.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Drinking absinthe.
Basically,
I'm going to boil it down to got real drunk, wrote shitty poetry.
You could trace him by the smell.
God, it smells like baby powder, absinthe, and just cum.
Jesus Christ. Our Crowley episodes are gonna be fun.
Oh, when we get to those, it's gonna be a treat. So, thank you for that, Mike.
yes.
And you can find me here and on the Distraction Hole with Mike and David, which you'll find that at the beginning of next week.
You won't find me there, though. You won't catch me dead there.
I'll be alive there.
Yes.
Yes. So, again, thank you for listening. We will see you next time for Weekend Weird. So, until then, everybody stay safe and stay frosty. Goodbye.
Night, night.
Can you imagine Crowley and the Mothman?
Oh, God.
Hooking up?
I wouldn't wish it on the Mothman.
Who? Man.
So the Mothman
Yes,
eats ass.
harder. You call that analingus?
I was gonna say the Mothman eats ass, so he's kind of a bottom, and Crowley was like the powerest.
Crowley was a bottom.
Crowley. That's what I was gonna say. Crowley's the powerest of bottoms, so they're just like canceling each other out.
He just sucks the Mothman up into his ass, and that's the last.
They would need like a really strong top that would plow Crowley while the Mothman eats his ass.
I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say that is John Travolta.
I don't know. He's so embarrassed about it. He just.
Oh my God! What are you talking about? I'd totally go for that. That's terrible. All right. God, I can't believe I did that voice. Shit.